The Chicago Bears, as we all know, had the number 9 pick after trading the number 1 pick in the draft. At number 9, they end up trading back, passing on a guy that I think a lot of Bears fans were talking about and debating, Jalen Carter.
Yep.
Moved back 1 to number 10 to take right tackle Darnell Wright out of Tennessee. Corey, just your thoughts on the machination of them making that trade. Did you like that? And let's get into the player Darnell Wright.
I love the trade because honestly, I think Jalen Carter, Philly is the best situation for him. You look at their roster, they have veteran leadership, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, and then he also has Jordan Davis, who got drafted last year, was a teammate of his at Georgia, and Nolan Smith as well. So he's going to have a lot of good people in that locker room. They have that veteran leadership, and they're looking for somebody like Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox to kind of show him the way and how to be a pro. So Philly can take a chance on him. Chicago really had to get things right the way they're trying to rebuild this roster. I think that's the perfect fit for him, and I think he'll turn out really well in Philly with their situation. But back to the Bears, I think Darnell Wright was perfect because like we were talking about in the previous pods, I thought they felt really good about Braxton Jones at left tackle. So that's why I thought whoever this pick was going to be a right tackle. And Darnell Wright played right tackle all this season. He did really well. He locked down Will Anderson. He didn't allow a sack. Only a few handful of pressures here and there. Super athletic. His sets are unbelievable. He plays with nastiness. He has the strength. He's like a savvy offensive lineman. If someone tries to give him a long arm, he'll stab it down, go on top of them. If somebody's going to swipe his hands, he acts like he's going to give him his hand, pulls him back, latches on. He reminds me a lot of Trent Williams, the talented Pro Bowl tackle.
Yeah.
Except he's on the right side. But the athleticism is unbelievable. When he pulls, when he moves in space, his sets, nobody's beating him to the spot. Nobody's bullying him. I said this on CHGO, and a lot of people thought it was controversial, but I think he will be a Pro Bowl caliber player in his first year. I really do.
Wow.
I believe in that. I think he's perfect for this scheme, and especially playing the right tackle position. Usually right tackles are limited with their mobility. They're usually always strong, but he has feet like a left tackle. He probably could play on the left side if he wanted to. I think he did in the years prior, but unbelievable athleticism for a right tackle. He's nasty. He's old school. So they got 2 offensive linemen that are like the old school type players, him and Tevin Jenkins. So, and Nate Davis as well is another old school type of player. So I'm so excited about that pick. You solidify the offensive line like I talked about. You got the weapons at receiver. You got DJ Moore as the number 1. You got Claypool, Mooney. And then one of my favorites we'll talk about later is Tyler Scott. I think he's going to be very underrated. I think he's going to be the steal of the draft. But really love the pick in Darnell Wright. I think he's going to be a bright spot. You got 2 young tackles, him and Braxton Jones. Just hoping Braxton Jones got stronger because that was the kind of only thing that he really needed to improve on.
Darnell Wright, 6'5" and some change, right? 330 pounds. You got a chance to check out some of his interviews over the weekend. Kind of a cool personality.
Exactly.
And I like it. A little bit of an attitude. I think he's got an opportunity in the coming years to, as you said, with 2 young tackles, those are definitely foundation pieces. Hopefully he can become a leader on that line as the years go on. And then all of a sudden, man, you've really got a foundation there on that front of the line. The other part that I liked a whole lot, Corey, was I think we'll be able to debate till the end of time how the Chicago Bears felt about Jalen Carter. Whether he was on the board, whether he wasn't or not. But what I think in my estimation happened was I don't think that they were taking him. But I do think that they called the Philadelphia Eagles and said, well, we're going to take him. What would it take? And I think the negotiation probably happened really quickly where the Eagles said, all right, we'll just toss you that 4th round pick. We'll make something happen. Keep in mind that the Chicago Bears ended up moving up to 56 with a 4th round pick that they got from the Robert Quinn trade from the Eagles the year before. So I do like that it was just smart, right? Like, even if you're not going to take a certain player, you can still get a draft pick for the guy that you aren't even going to take and then get the guy that you wanted all along. I just thought that, again, that was really savvy, creative maneuvering by Ryan Poles. And now they have a guy who is right tackle, Corey. And look, you're former Chicago Bear. You know this. How many times? And we've seen it with Tevin Jenkins. Tevin Jenkins got drafted. Well, can he play left tackle? No, let's start him at right tackle. No, actually, let's bounce him into guard. Now, is he possibly going to be left guard this year? We've seen this with Kyle Long switching positions. I understand that you guys are professional athletes, but that's got to be difficult, right? Where Darnell Wright is just going to be a right tackle, set it, forget it, put him over there to protect Justin Fields, and here we go.
It's good to have that plug and play. He is ready. And like I said, he has the athleticism of a left tackle, which is going to be an incredible thing, because now in the league, you should just be the most talented pass rusher, played on the QB's blind side, going against the left tackle. Now you see a lot of times Reddick, arguably one of the best pass rushers in the league, he rushes from the left side. So a lot of the really talented pass rushers are now rushing from that left side again. So basically you have to have two really locked down tackles. And I'm glad that they drafted Wright. And Will Anderson, who's been arguably our favorite defensive lineman coming out of this draft, said, hands down, Darnell Wright was the best tackle he played against all year. So I think that's the proof is in the pudding. He is the pick. He's nasty. He has the footwork. He's just going to continue to improve. I think he hasn't even scratched the surface of what he can be. I really love this pick from Poles right here.
Yeah, and Chicago Bears fans, keep in mind, this might be a little new to us, but starting last year, Justin Fields, opposing players speaking highly of him publicly. Again, another great player speaking highly about a Chicago Bears player that we have just drafted. My final one for you on Darnell Wright, and then maybe we'll move on to day two if you're ready, was the general, I think the very broad swath consensus out there right now is that Darnell Wright was the best pass protecting tackle coming out of this draft. Yeah. And that he actually had some work to do in the run game, which I found kind of interesting. That feels like a reverse engineer a little bit of what you see from a lot of offensive linemen that come out of college. Can you talk a little bit about what you saw on tape with Darnell Wright, specifically with that, and how he's going to pair with Nate Davis on the right guard side, which we're assuming he's going to be the right guard because he's typically a road grader in the run game. How is that tandem going to pair on the right side, in your opinion?
I think it's going to be great. And the criticism of him in the run game, Tennessee runs kind of like a unique kind of offense, right? They run a lot of zone reads. So it's not a lot of true zone blocks here and there. It's kind of where you leave the last line of defense. But the plays where it was nitty gritty, time to get a first down, he's got a down block, he's got to reach, he's got to cut off. I mean, the athleticism was there, the strength was there, that was nasty. Me and Adam Hogue broke down a couple plays where he had got beat inside on a running play, and his defender made the tackle. The next play, he put that defender all the way to the other side of the field. So I think that speaks of how he responds, how nasty he is. So I think he's the complete package